It is the beginning of August, which can mean one thing and one thing only. Fantasy redraft season is here, and the regression to the mean team is going to mock draft a 12 team PPR standard format league. We're going to show you strategies from each spot in the draft. I'm going to be drafting from the 2, Shaun Moran. Aidan Haller's going to be drafting here from the 7, and Keegan Thompson is going to be drafting from the 11. We're going to go pick by pick and give you kind of our rationale why we're taking these guys, where we're taking them, and giving you an inside look and strategy that you can use to win your home leagues later in the month. Keegan, why don't you start this draft off?
Cool. Okay.
So I'm here second overall. The only two guys that I really think I'm having a conversation about here are Jamar Chase and Christian McCaffrey. It really is just your preference. Do you want to go with a wide receiver? Do you want to go with a running back? I love CMC. I am a 49er fan. However, I think it makes a ton of sense to start with Jamar Chase, considering that he has top wide receiver and wide receiver one upside. And I believe he has barely scratched the surface of how good he is as a player. Last year alone, he jumped from, in 2021 as a rookie, 7 targets a game to close to 11 targets per game in year 2. Even in an offense with T. Higgins, he is the undisputed alpha. I'm going to take Jamar Chase here and take it to the bank at number 2.
All right, wow, that shook out a little interesting. Okay, so we are looking at a couple players. So for the Kelsey truthers, he is there for you there at 7. Personally, it's not how I like to build out rosters. I like to start with either a wide receiver or running back, which really brings me to one pick that I think has by far the most upside in Cooper Kupp. On a points per game basis last year, he was pacing again for a wide receiver 1 finish. I know some people are a bit skeptical with the early hamstring. Does it linger throughout the year? But in terms of pure volume and how he performs with Matthew Stafford, that's personally my favorite pick here. I would have actually considered Bijan at 7. I was thinking about it, but given he's already gone, that makes my decision a bit easier. So I'm going with Cooper Kupp.
Kelsey, Diggs, Barkley. Okay. I have a couple options here. Oof, man. Full PPR here kind of changes the way I think about this. If it's half, maybe I go somewhere like A.J. Brown here, but we've got full PPR.
Do it. Well, he could be there when it wraps around at the 2.2, so you could double up.
I typically don't like or have not drafted running backs either. But because I'm in such an awkward spot here at the end of the draft, I almost feel like it might be better to build out a running back and wide receiver build here. It's kind of just, but Barkley's gone, so I don't know that I would do that anymore. I'm gonna go AJ Brown here with the first pick. Actually, I feel like all the things we've talked about with Jalen Hurts and like the fact that they didn't even play in the fourth quarter hardly and never played from behind. Just like there's more on the table for AJ Brown there. He also scores touchdowns on top of catches balls, so I'm gonna pick him over somebody like a CeeDee Lamb here. And then I'm going to pass over Devontae and Nick Chubb, and I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown
Wow.
and just start my draft
Wow.
with 2 alpha wide receivers there.
Wow.
And just kind of like, let's see where the board goes after that for me.
Wow.
I'm going to miss out on a lot of top-tier running back talent, and my room will be a little slim, but I think I can rebuild that out a little bit later here. So,
All right. So here I am here. I'm really only in between 2 guys here. We've got Derrick Henry, who's just year in and year out absolute bona fide running back 1. And then I'm looking at Garrett Wilson too. Do I want to start with 2 just absolute beasts at the wide receiver position? Prime to take a massive leap with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if I have the stones to start this one with 2 wide receivers in a row. So I think I'm actually going to go Derrick Henry. And just time and time again, just absolute workhorse. Does he fall off a cliff this year? I hope not. And for that reason, I'm going to bank on the King being another top 5 running back season. And that's where I'm going. I'll have 1 running back, 1 wide receiver. Feeling good about kind of checking both of those boxes so far.
Oh, I know Shaun wanted to take Tony Pollard there. I absolutely. He had his whole spiel ready. He had his player profile pulled up. He was ready to go.
I'm hurt. I'm really hurt by that one. Oh, that this is good. This is good to feel that sting. You need to know what that feels like.
You have to be prepared. You have to be prepared.
I don't really want to take Josh Jacobs. I don't really want. I know that he's so good and he had such an incredible season last year, but this isn't best ball. This is my redraft league where I have to deal with what could be one of the worst offenses in football when he's really trying to play for a contract that he deserves, by the way. I think if I'm going to take anyone here, I'm going to have to go with who I believe is going to finish as QB1 this season, and that's Jalen Hurts. So I'm happy to take Jalen Hurts there. So now that I have Jalen Hurts and Jamar Chase, I feel like I have a really, really good foundation. That's like 50 combined points every game just from those two. I think from here now I need to make a decision. Is this going to be a zero build, or is this going to be a build where I have a little bit more balance? So I'm really only between two guys at this point that I'm looking to build from. And it's really, do I wait out the first maybe 5 to 6 weeks of the season and see if he's healthy by the end of the year? And if he is, it's like league winning upside. Or do I take somebody that I think is one of the most slept on players in the entire NFL? So it's really about kind of a choose your own adventure. I think for the purposes of this podcast here in this episode, I'm going to go with something where I need to feel what a zero RB build looks like so I can practice. So I'm going to take Devonta Smith and complete the handcuffed with Jalen Hurts.
I like that. I like that a lot. He is still here now.
Don't do it.
So
Don't
to
do
Shaun's
it.
point, so Brees Hall
Yes,
is still sitting
Brees
here.
Hall was the man that I was referring to. It was between Brees and Devonta.
And so pretty much I think a lot of us, like the three of us as a group collectively, think the same way around Brees Hall. Like, I can't really stomach the risk of being my running back one, but given that I already have Derrick Henry, I've got a stud in Cooper Kupp as my wide receiver. It's either, I'm looking at Brees Hall, you've got some quarterbacks here. I'm going to wait on quarterback for now. Brees Hall's upside is just way too appealing, and I'm okay with that risk given I've got Derrick Henry. So in my opinion, this feels like a no-brainer. He could easily finish as a top 5 running back, and getting him in the middle of the 3rd round kind of feels like stealing. So I'm going to take him, and we're going Brees Hall with Derrick Henry and Cooper Kupp to start.
Oh, that makes me so sad. And 2 of the targets that I had just went. So I was going to go DK.
Yeah.
I was going to go DK first and not even think twice about it. And just have an insane 3 wide receiver build. But I think right here I have an opportunity to take who I think can finish as the fantasy QB1 this year. And I'm going to just go straight into Lamar Jackson here.
Do it.
And take that as my pick. And now I'm also going to take another player who I had in mind here. So if I had gotten DK, I was probably going to go DK and then this player after. But I think the upside of Lamar Jackson right now, and just like potential to be a true quarterback one in fantasy this year and an absolute alpha at the position is going to like really set this roster apart. Also, I love my wide receivers, so I don't really need to force a 3rd one right now. And like in this format, you're starting 2 wide receivers. You do have to start 2 running backs, and there's 2 flexes. So I like where I'm at in my wide receivers, but I do want to make sure I get an upside swing at running back here and get some talent while I can. And I'm going to go with the rookie in Jahmyr Gibbs.
Nasty. AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, Lamar, and Jahmyr Gibbs is tasty.
All right. So now we are left with an interesting decision here. I feel very good about my running back, so that's really not even.
I know what's going to happen here.
That's not even a thought for me. So I'm sitting with Cooper Kupp. I feel really good about my wide receiver one, and the decision now is: do I get my second wide receiver, or do I go get my guy and draft Justin Fields? These are these decisions I'm gonna have to make this year. Kind of just peeking ahead, what wide receivers are going to be there for me at my next pick, and I like them. There's some guys there. I've got, the likes of Drake London, Jerry Jeudy. There's some guys there that I personally feel comfortable with my wide receiver too. So for that reason, I'm going for QB1 upside here. I'm getting my guy in Justin Fields.
All 3 of us have now taken a quarterback in the first 4 rounds, which I think is how most of your PPR or like just your redraft league should go this year in general.
They're going to go high.
Like quarterbacks are going to go high.
So
They're going to go
so
high.
this one's about as easy as a pick that you could make. Uh, the fact that this guy who I think has wide receiver one upside, who's going to finish, I mean, be my wide receiver three weekly, it's not even a question. If Calvin Ridley's here this late into the fourth round, I am taking him every day, twice on Sunday. So now it's time that I need to build out this running back room. So I need to anchor to someone with running back one upside. And I think this
Damian
one's a
Pierce.
no-brainer in Damian Pierce.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
no-brainer
so
there.
I love this build. This is what happens when you go zero.
Man, I really, really wanted DJ Moore there. So team 6, that was a bummer. So I need a wideout here. It's going to start getting a little darker. I've only got 2 wide receiver spots. It's really just down to Judy or Watson for me. I personally think Judy's a much safer play, given the quarterback he's attached to and what I expect is a much better offense. So I'm going to go with Judy here. At that point, I feel really good about 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and my quarterback. And at this point, I'm kind of going BPA as I've got my flex spots, and we're really just building out kind of the best. Team 10 has 5 running backs. Sorry, I like my train of thought got completely
ChatGPT.
derailed when I looked up it and saw that.
Who let
Yeah,
ChatGPT draft? Come on now.
Man, a lot of interesting picks here at the 5'11 spot. I do only have 1 running back and 2 good stud wide receivers here. Oh man, this is a little tricky, that's for sure. But I think the pick is pretty easy for me at this spot because I'm going to add a guy who has 3 down workload upside in Miles Sanders. And it gives me a good running back room that I can kind of ignore for a little bit now and just kind of like take some more swings at wide receiver here. Now, what to do when you get to this point, because there's a lot of guys in here that I don't love at this range, like the Chris Godwins. I'm not very interested in redraft. I don't really want a tight end with this build right now. I could go Waller, I think. I could go Dallas Goedert, but because we're starting 2 flexes, I want to get a wide receiver that I think can do some damage for me. And I think that guy is going to be Brandon Ayuk here for me. Oh, actually, sorry, I didn't even see here. Mike Williams. I didn't even realize who's still here hanging out on the board. That's an easy pick for me. Mike Williams is my 3rd wide receiver in the 6th round of a redraft. Feels like such a good bargain to me because I'm getting that Chargers offense exposure, and he'll slide into my flex spot every week, and I love that.
So now I've got an interesting decision. So I thought I was for sure going to go Ayuk here. I feel good about my 2 running backs. I think I need another wideout, but I didn't expect Godwin to still be here. Who's a guy that I actually really like. I think especially in PPR formats, he only got better as the year went on, as he recovered from his injury last year. So this is a guy that I fully believe in, whether it's Baker or Trask. I think given his route tree and a lot of the quick hitters that he's going to be doing, that he's shown to do in his career, I think he's a really good pick. But then you've also got Ayuk, who I've kind of said time and time again is going to be the Niners wide receiver 1 in terms of both real football and fantasy. So this is a tough one. I could go either way, really. It's kind of a coin toss for me, but I'm actually going to go Chris Godwin here. It's a guy that I've owned multiple times, was on a fantasy championship team last year, and I'm just going to ride again as my wide receiver 3. I feel good there.
So I have my 3 wide receivers. I do not have my flex yet. I do not have my 2nd running back. In redraft, I firmly believe you need to fill out the positions, right? I know some people love to keep hammering positions, but if the guy's just on your bench and you can't start him, I've done this in 10-man leagues where it just doesn't really matter. You're as weak as you're as strong as your weakest, starter, unless it's like your tight end. So in this instance, I'm going to go with a year 2 running back. I love year 2 running backs. Year 2 running backs offer that upside of a year 2 breakout. This guy is virtually unchallenged for touches in his backfield. He could be playing with a quarterback that's going to pepper him with targets. Really strong receiving profile. And if his offensive line bounces back, I think he could be a better rusher. I'm going to take Rachaad White as my running back. 2, coming here too, again, upside wins championships. I've got 3 wide receivers. I want to take the biggest swing possible at this point in the draft in round 7. I want somebody that has like top top 12 wide receiver outcomes by the end of the season available, and I think that's Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I'm taking JSN at 7.2.
That was a bummer. I did want that. Okay.
My team is so nasty.
So if I didn't already have Brees Hall, I think Javonte is in play here, but you just can't have the two of them on the same roster. It's a pretty slippery slope, I think you run there in terms of your appetite for risk. So again, I think I'm kind of going BPA. Which position would I rather fill? So I'm looking at Dave Montgomery versus Jordan Addison. I think Dave Montgomery pretty much slots into what Jamal Williams' role last year was. If anything, I think he's a better running back at this point in their careers, respectively. And then you've got Jordan Addison, who's stepping into a clear-cut wide receiver 2 role in a team that's probably going to be a top 3 or top 5 passing offense in terms of just overall attempts. So I think I'm actually going to go Jordan Addison. I think there's some other running backs that I like that'll still be there at this next kind of turn for me. And I just love the upside with Jordan Addison. I think there's absolutely top 20 possibility for him this year in that offense. So I'm going JA. Feeling really
That makes
good
me
with strong
so
wideouts.
sad. Oh, man. Oof. Okay. I got to pivot a little bit here. I was fully ready to be drafting Jordan Addison right there.
I'm a proud owner of Jordan Addison.
Oh, man. Trying to just look at some personal ranks that I have. Think about
It's a
where,
mock draft.
like,
My personal ranks.
dude, I'm just trying to think, like, how would I approach this if I was actually in this position? Like,
I love
God
it.
forbid.
I love
Sorry.
it. I love it.
Apologies.
I love it. Team 10 is garbage. Oh my goodness.
Man. The draft with the three of us is really in 3 weeks, boys.
So you went Monty. Wow, he's doing double Detroit. That's incredible. He's got the whole Lions on his team. I love it. He went double Monty and Traylon. Oh wow, that was what a. So you went Monty and Traylon Burks before Aidan makes his pick. Any reason why you're comfortable doing double Detroit?
To be honest, I think they're both like week in, week out starters. They also have different profiles as players, and like I kind of like the Lions offense a bit. I just like it's 7th round. Like David Montgomery's going to score like upwards of 8 touchdowns this year, and Jahmyr Gibbs might catch 70 balls this year. I just think they have enough profile to like work. I've already got my 2 starting receivers. I have 2 running backs that can slot in on a week-to-week basis. I've got a nice flex in Mike Williams, and Traylon Burks is my other flex. So now I just have David Montgomery as kind of like a little handcuff here, but I think they're both fantasy viable. I would not normally do this. It's probably the one running back room in a PPR setting that I would do this with.
Okay.
That's fair. So I was expecting AJ Dillon or Antonio Gibson to be here. So now we're pivoting. When you look at the board, I would have to reach pretty far on a running back. So for that reason, I'm kind of just going to hang out around ADP. I'm going to get a guy that I think could have a monster season, especially as the year goes on. Again, I want to attach myself to players that are going to be in good offenses. And to me, the Chargers offense is just something that you need exposure to on every given level. So we're going back-to-back rookie wide receivers, and I'm taking Quentin Johnston.
That B-Rob selection hurt. That I am not gonna lie, that pained me. I thought I was gonna get him as my RB3. I love year 2 running backs. So I am now gonna be reeling here a little bit. I'm looking at this board. I don't want Kadarius Toney. I don't really want David Njoku at this point. I want somebody with kind of potential league-breaking upside. And I think at this point in the draft, somebody that could really break the slate if he remains healthy is Rashad Penny. So I'm going to have Rashad Penny be my 3rd running back. It's very risky, I understand it, but that's just where I'm at here with that. In terms of my next pick here, it's going to be between a running back and a wide receiver. I think I definitely could hammer Zach Charbonnet. I could definitely go Samaje Perine. That's on the table. That's on the menu. But at the end of the day, I want somebody with league-winning potential. I'm going to start 4 wide receivers each given week. And I think Zay Flowers is the perfect complement to what I want to get done in my wide receiver room.
Okay, nice, nice. The players that I wanted are here, so this is good. So at this point in the draft, I'm looking at five wide receivers that I feel really strong about. I've got Justin Fields as my, stud QB, and I've only got two running backs. So at this point, it's time to address that. We need a third running back. For me, I'm not all that high on Jamal Williams. I think there's a world where he scores a ton of touchdowns, but that three-headed backfield is kind of just it's a bit of a pain in the ass in my opinion. So for me, it would be either Charbo or Pirine, who I think have much more favorable kind of realm of outcomes with what they're working with. This is one where I could flip a coin and go either way too. Man, I'm actually pretty torn on this. I really like Pirine, especially if Javante has any kind of setbacks with his knee, which it doesn't appear he is. It looks like he's really strong, already getting cleared for preseason work. But I think I'm going to go Charbo. I think that's going to be a much better offense, and he could have a really awesome season given he's also going to be a guy that catch balls. So I'm going Charbo running back three.
Oh man, I probably want to get another running back here since I did get a little greedy with the Detroit kind of like all-in stack,
I
and
love it.
then
It's so sick.
I'm gonna try and double tap rookies here and go with some super major big swing plays because we're in the ninth and 10th round here, and as I explained in my last one, I kind of like how my rooms are already shaking out. I've got a quarterback here. One position I haven't addressed yet is tight end. So I'm hoping to get one on the wrap here, but I'm going to go with Devon A. Chain here.
No,
Perfect. And then I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid as my starting tight end.
dude, you're living
So
my dream on that one. Oh, I
I
love
wanted
that
Quentin
pick.
Johnson. I wanted Zay Flowers this round. That's who I would have taken. I wanted Addison in the round that I ended up getting Montgomery, and I really wanted some rookie upside because, like, in the back half of seasons, rookies just have so much potential to smash in redraft leagues. So I figured why not get two in that spot there.
There
I
you go.
love that. Great picks.
There you go. So at this point in the draft, I've got three running backs, five wide receivers. I'm kind of just going best player available at this point. I'm going to wait a bit longer on tight end. I'm not really dying to take Cole Kmet or Chig, especially Chig. I'm not very high on Chig personally. I know you two are more avid members of the fan club. I'm going to pass on both of those guys. I think I'm still a little thin at running back. So this is a guy that could easily have a Jamal Williams type role in Buffalo this year, and I'm going to go with Damian Harris. I think there's a lot of touchdown upside there, and again, it's like the years of me like attaching myself to good players on bad offenses are kind of done with. I want good players on good offenses, so for that reason, I want Damian Harris.
That that was nightmare fuel. That was
Just getting sniped on running
that
backs
was
time and
that
time.
was a nightmare. Well, I don't have a tight end yet. I don't have
No,
one, and I
no.
don't have one yet. Let me see, and I need another running back. So I'm right. Running back and tight end is something I need to address. We're here at the end of the 10th round. Best player on the board is Elijah Moore. Oh, do I just say fuck running back? Oh, this is tough. This is tough. I'm gonna take Elijah Moore here. I my receiver room is most likely done. I'm looking at running backs here. I got Tyler Algier is really interesting. Kendrick Miller, Tank Bigsby, all guys that are fascinating to me here. It is thin at running back right now, but I'm gonna live my best life and I'm gonna take Greg Dulcich.
No, no.
I'm gonna have to take a lot of running backs here to close out this draft. This is
I can't believe you just took
it's
Greg from me.
absurd.
I had him queued up. He was ready to join my roster. Okay, here we are. God, my heart. I'm recovering still. So I'm 30 seconds into my pick and I've just caught my breath.
The snipe.
So I still don't have a tight end either. And we're not going to take one yet. We're not going to do it. Who's got the most upside here? Algier's an interesting pick, given how productive he was in his rookie season. If anything was to happen to Bijan, pretty awesome value there. And then I'm also looking at Darnell Mooney. The Bears figured it obviously be a much better passing offense. And it's kind of a coin flip of will him or Claypool be that wide receiver two. I think the wide receiver two in that offense could easily have 1,000 yards. For that reason, I'm okay with taking that risk. Given I've also got Fields, I've got that little handcuff. So I'm gonna go with Mooney here. Actually, as my wide receiver 6.
Wow, good pick.
Oh man, that is super unfortunate that Rondale Moore just went. That is absolutely where I was headed. This the PPR upside of Rondale Moore is so interesting to me. I mean, yeah, that team's going to be bad, but he's just going to catch like 2 yard passes like all day, every day, and it's going to be fantastic. So I think I am liking the idea of going wide receiver here, though. It's kind of like an interesting group of names here, right? Like, I don't really want Jacoby Myers. I think, that could be a boring pick, but a safe one. But I don't know. After saying that out loud, it doesn't sound like a bad idea, but I'm just going to go again and dip my feet into the rookie water pool and take my 5th wide receiver here in Jalen Hyatt.
Wow, I love Hyatt.
And then now we're kind of looking at running backs here. I think, let's see, I kind of want to go 5 and 5 because I'll need likely four wide receivers week in, week out, 2 running backs. I've got my tight end figured out. Let's see here. There is not much left on the running back pool, that's for sure. A little bit dark here, so I'm actually going to take Tyler Algier.
Yeah, I was gonna
Damn
say
it.
there's no way he got by you.
Yeah, it's a player that I really like. I think he has he has a pretty safe role of like at least 10 touches a week. I don't think that Bijan is truly going to get a full workhorse role after how good Algier was last year. So I'll take Algier, and I have a pretty evened out like running back room there, and now we're cooking.
Cool. All right, so the wait has come to an end. It is officially time to fill the tight end position with one of my favorite guys in all of fantasy football this year. I think he's easily the tight end or the rookie tight end number 1. Gonna be, in my opinion, should probably be number 2 in targets behind ARSB in that high flying Lions offense. So I'm pretty stoked getting Laporta there in round 12. I've already got 6 wideouts and 5 running backs, so like really feeling strong. Who are you going to go with, Bigsby?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's good to feel the tilt, It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to do a couple of these before some real
I was
drafts. 'Cause
really banking on
I'm feeling things.
Bigsby
Yeah, I'm
upside.
feeling things.
I was really banking on Bigsby upside. I don't like this pick at all, but I need a running back. I think this guy's going to be on the field. I'm going to take Raheem Mostert. And I need more running backs. I can't.
I can feel the stress in your voice.
I
know.
I can't take Devin Singletary when I have Damian Pierce. It's between 2 guys here. I'm going to take Jalen Warren. So Jalen Warren, I think, has standalone value, and then if anything happens to Najee, he is going to be a really good fantasy asset.
All right, so at this point, I've kind of checked all my boxes. Might as well take a defense here. I feel really good about my running backs and wide receivers. So at this point, it's kind of just what do you feel in. Philly, really good defense last year. There's probably due for some regression given all the new faces there, so I'm not in love with it. I think, man, I don't know. Defenses are just defenses at this point.
Defenses are just defenses at this point.
They're just defenses, you know what I mean? I think I'm going to go with the Jets.
Why would you do that? You couldn't even let me have him in the mock draft? You had to.
No. So there's not many domes, so they're going to be playing a lot of sloppy football games, which means low scoring, fumbles, INTs. I like that. I was going to go Dallas, but too many domes.
Nico Collins in the 14th round. Wow. That feels like stealing.
Keegan, were you going to take the Jets?
Duh. How many running backs do I have? One, two, three, four, five. Five running backs. One, two, three, four, five wide receivers. Probably take a wide receiver here and just try and find some gold at the end of the round here. And there's a lot of intriguing names. Somebody I think that might have an opportunity to kind of not explode onto the scene here, but that's kind of what I'm looking for in this very last round. This is a good opportunity to take a rookie or a second year guy or somebody who, you know. But if I've got a couple rookies on the squad already,
You rookie
I don't know.
heavy. You got like 4 of them.
Yeah, that's upside wins championships.
Yes, sir.
We'll just go with Romeo Dobbs, potential wide receiver 2 in his offense. Why not? But we're in the 14th round. It doesn't really matter. I would have loved to take
Shaun,
the
you
Jets
hate
there.
Dobbs, right? One of you hate Dobbs. I forget. Yeah, Shaun.
No, I
right?
like Dobbs.
Yeah. I thought you guys hate Dobbs.
No, I just don't know if he's that good, but he's definitely fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so what are we doing here? Yeah, at this point, like, we're kind of just taking a swing. I don't even know what I want to do here. What running backs are there? The running backs are pretty gross. I've got 5, so I'm not going to do that. It's probably a wide receiver or a tight end here. Given I've got a rookie tight end, it's probably a good idea to take a second one. Typically they're just not that productive, especially out of the gate. I think Laporta will be, but I should, be a little safer here. What are we doing? We've got a ton of options. I think I'm gonna go with Juwan Johnson.
Okay.
Really good athlete there. Derek Carr's a big tight end guy. I'm gonna go with Juwan to wrap this thing up.
So, in a normal situation, I'm not going to take a defense. I like to draft and then maybe a week before just pick up the defense or like 2 days before just to see if like one of my dart throws may make the team. If I were going to take a position that wasn't defense, definitely would take a look at tight end. I really like Irv Smith here. He's an interesting late round target that I'm a fan of. If I were looking at wide receivers, I think Jaden Reed fits the profile of like an Amon-Ra St. Brown late season breakout. So he is definitely on my radar as well. If I were going to take a running back in this area, I think Chase Brown and Jerome Ford are interesting plays. And then also Leonard Fournette. He's really not a bad pick considering where he may land. He may be able to get some usable weeks out of the last pick. However, for just the sake of sake, I'm just going to take a defense. In this instance, I think I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints defense, considering that they have one of the easiest schedules in football this year. So I'm just going to take the Saints.
Their first 6 weeks are like such a dream matchup for fantasy defenses. For anybody who's made it this far in the video, like just go look at the first 6-7 weeks of the Saints schedule, and
It's pretty tasty.
It's cake. It's cake.
So I'll go through my team real quick. I started with the 1-2. Chase was a no-brainer. I decided to go early round quarterback. Now I'm looking at Daniel Jones in the end of the 11th, and I'm looking at Anthony Richardson in the 10th, and I'm thinking that could have been my life if I hadn't taken Hurts so early. I'm not going to lose any sleep at night knowing I have Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase as my first 2 picks. Devontae Smith was an absolute no-brainer. I think he will be there in most drafts. I don't envision Calvin Ridley being there in late into the 4th when I'm drafting, so that was an absolute no-brainer. My running backs, I went with the zero RB approach, so to speak. I took Dameon Pierce in the 5th, Rashad White in the 6th. I love year 2 breakouts. JSN in the 7th is probably my favorite pick in this entire draft, considering his upside. Went back to the Eagles, took Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny, if healthy, is going to be an absolute smash weekly play. More upside plays at wide receiver, Zay Jones, Elijah Moore. Had to get my guy Greg Dulcich, and then trying to hit a single here with my running backs, Raheem Mostert and Jalen Warren, and finishing off with the Saints.
There you go. So I drafted from the 7 slot. I went with Cooper Kupp. I love his upside. He's got wide receiver 1 potential. He's already done it before. We're going to need him and Stafford to stay healthy for that to be a possibility. Derrick Henry, super safe running back 1 there, time and time again, is a top 5 running back. Given that I already had him, I went a little riskier with my RB2 in Breece Hall. I think the ceiling with him is pretty endless. It's just a matter of how quickly does he regain that kind of flash that he was showing in his rookie year. Got my guy in Justin Fields. Could not be more stoked. QB1 upside with him. The second wide receiver I took was Jerry Jeudy, who I think is definitely someone who's, ton of buzz in the fantasy community. This is someone that everyone sees taking a big leap this year, so I like him there. But 3 more wide receivers in a row here with Godwin, Addison, and Johnston. 2 young guys who I think have a ton of upside in pass-heavy offenses, plus Chris Godwin, who's just kind of a PPR god, going to get a ton of volume, even with a shitty QB situation. I think he still performs. Waited a while to get back into the running back pool, but got Charbonnet or Harris, who are 2 guys I really like. I think they both could get a ton of red zone touches and are just attached to good offenses. Last wide receiver I took was Mooney. He's my wide receiver 6. Nice to attach someone to Justin Fields and someone who I think has a ton of upside. Has a 1,000-yard season under his belt, so he's shown he can be productive at the NFL level. Took 2 tight ends in Laporta and Johnson. Laporta is one of my favorite targets, who I've raved about all offseason, and got the Jets defense, who I see having some really favorable matchups, especially late in the season.
You didn't take a single running back in the dead zone. Look at that. He went Fields, Judy, Godwin, Addison. He completely faded the dead zone, where Keegan and I had to go dead zone because we went so wide receiver, quarterback heavy.
That's a good way to put it.
So
yeah, I completely avoided that.
Yeah, pretty much. That's interesting.
From the 11 here, we double tapped on the wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Amon St. Brown. I think you can do this a number of ways. So you could have gone A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, or like CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Amon. There's tons of options. It's kind of just like what's your flavor there, but I like that combination. Get my guy in Lamar Jackson, who I think could be QB1. Now, this pick, Jahmyr Gibbs, when I'm looking back at the board and how it went, I think I probably should have gone Mixon here. Like, if you're drafting in this spot or even kind of in the middle here, the 4th round, Joe Mixon is like, he didn't play great last year, but he's going to have insane volume again, and he's got an insane pass catching role carved out. That's probably what I should have done, but I love Sanders in this late 5th round because you're getting a 3-down running back who's going to be leaned on a lot, especially pairing with Bryce Young and a rookie quarterback. Like, Miles Sanders is going to balance out that offense. 6th round, Mike Williams. Love it. This is a flag plant for me this year. He's going to benefit massively from a new offensive scheme. And then, of course, I do the double dip on running backs for Detroit here with David Montgomery. But I'm a big fan of that pick as well, too. This is another guy who has tons of workload coming his way, and also just is going to be in a scoring offense that Jamal Williams had 15 touchdowns in. So Treylon Burks, who I think this is a bit of a discount for Burks because people are thinking that Hopkins is going to take away his fantasy value, but I think it only helps. And then rookie upsides, A-Chain, Kincaid, Hyatt, for that second half of the season lift that you need, Algier for some viable running back weeks, like nothing crazy, and then end it with Dobbs, who's just kind of like a dart throw to have some kind of any pulse in his offense. I probably should have taken maybe a like with Kincaid in this build, I probably should have looked at maybe taking a second tight end here just to balance it out, but I like the way my team unfolded.
That guy with Anthony Richardson and Kirk Cousins is kind of, if you were going to take Anthony Richardson, Team 6 had the best approach, in my opinion. Pair him with somebody safe. Keegan, I loved the Kincaid pick. That was awesome. I loved you went double Lions because you're basically betting on this being Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram 2.0.
Mark Ingram.
It totally
I think
could.
you kind of have
Totally
to.
could.
I think you kind of have
I think both will actually have viable starts together because Montgomery is going to get the bulk of the carries, but Gibbs could see 6-7 targets a game.
Yeah.
Gibbs is like if Christian Watson played running back.
I like that.
I think Seattle's maybe the only other backfield where like it would maybe make sense to take both of them and kind of just see how it unfolds.
Kenneth Walker's one of my favorite picks in fantasy, but the dude is always hurt or is always on like the precipice of getting hurt. So Charbonnet remains such a good pick with upside.
Yeah, their ADP is far enough off too to where like it's not like back-to-back rounds. Like you take one, wait a couple, get the other.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. This is our first mock draft. We're going to be doing a lot of these. So thank you for tuning in. We will be continuing to draft from different points of the. We'll continue to draft from different spots. We'll continue to take different approaches, and we'll give you all the opportunities to build out your strategy for draft season. Keegan, anything you got to say to the viewers before we jump?
I've got nothing today. I've got nothing.
Okay, nothing. Aidan?
That's all I got. Stay tuned. Fantasy football drafts are right around the corner, and we've got you covered. So hang along for the ride. It's going to be fun.
We got you covered. Thank you, everybody.
We've got you covered.